Last summer, I decided to take a break from my chaotic city life and rent a cabin in the woods for a month. It was a picturesque place, isolated and nestled deep within a dense forest. The nearest town was about 20 miles away, and the silence was a welcome change. For the first week, everything was perfect. I spent my days hiking, reading, and enjoying the tranquility. At night, I would light a fire, cook a simple meal, and sometimes stargaze on the porch. The only sounds were the chirping of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves. But one night, things took a strange turn. I was sitting on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the stars when I heard a soft, distant humming. At first I thought it was the wind, but the sound grew louder and more distinct. It was a melody, haunting and beautiful, drifting through the trees. Curious and a bit unnerved, I went inside and locked the door. I sat by the window, listening. The humming continued for a while before fading away. I tried to shrug it off, convincing myself it was just my imagination, or maybe a trick of the wind. The next day I hiked further into the woods than usual, trying to find some sign of another person. There were no footprints, no paths, nothing to suggest anyone had been there recently. I returned to the cabin, feeling uneasy but determined to enjoy my time away. That night the humming started again. This time it was closer, almost as if it was coming from right outside the cabin. I peered through the window but saw nothing. The forest was pitch black. I turned off the lights inside, hoping to see better, but there was still nothing. The humming continued, now accompanied by a faint whispering, too soft to make out any words. I barely slept that night, my mind racing with possibilities. Was it an animal, another person, or something else entirely? I decided to cut my trip short. The peace and solitude I had sought were now overshadowed by a creeping dread. The next morning, as I packed my things, I found something strange. On the porch, right by the door, was a small carved wooden figure. It looked like a crude humanoid with exaggerated features and hollow eyes. I hadn't seen it the night before, and there were no signs of anyone having been there. I threw it into the woods and finished packing as quickly as I could. Driving back to the city, I felt a mix of relief and paranoia. I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see someone or something following me. But the road was empty, and I made it home without incident. I never figured out what the humming was or who left the figure. Sometimes late at night, I think I hear that same melody, faint and distant, as if it's following me. I try to convince myself it's just my imagination, but deep down, I know there's something more to it. The cabin, the woods, and the unsettling visitor have left a mark on me, one that I can't quite shake off.